Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing.
Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 364 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. I'm glad you're here, and I hope that you're loving the episodes. Now, don't forget to subscribe because that makes it where you don't ever miss one. And also, give me a 5-star rating if it's resonating with you. It really does help in the podcast world. And I have a new podcast coming out on Monday. It's a really kind of a different vibe. It's all about ChatGPT. Now, I do not consider myself techie, but I think that's one you're not going to want to miss. So make sure you tune in. Okay, but for this episode, have you ever been doing something when you had a subtle feeling inside that was like, if you do that, it is not going to end well for you? But then all of a sudden there was a louder thought that says, oh, just do it. For example, maybe you're carrying your coffee to the table, and in order to not have to make 2 trips, you want to carry your plate, your phone, your glasses, your fork, and your full cup of coffee. But there's a voice in your head that says you're going to spill something if you do that. But then another one that says, oh, it'll be fine. And so you try to carry it all at once. And predictable, you spill something. And you say, now I knew that was going to happen. And you absolutely did know it was going to happen. But that other thought of just do it won out. And because of your rushed plan, you ended up with coffee all over the floor. Or worse, your entire breakfast and the coffee on the floor. You might have guessed that I may have experienced that this week. I opted to go with the louder voice, and it didn't end well. Deep down, though, I knew I didn't need to be trying to carry it all at once. I'm finding that the more I follow my deep intuition, the better my life is. I can think of many times in the past where I didn't follow my intuition and wish that I had. I listened to that more loud, impulsive voice in my head instead of that deep down feeling, the one that, hey, maybe we should think on this one a little more. That deep down intuition, that's our inner guidance system sort of guiding us through life. This type of thinking, our intuition, comes from our intelligent brain, or the front of our brain. If you could see me, I'm pointing to my forehead. But the loud, verbal, impulsive thoughts, those are coming from our primitive brain, which is a little further back. Now, I dated a really nice man when I was in my 30s who would have been a wonderful provider. He was funny. He was well-liked by everyone. He was really stable and just a really great guy. He made me laugh. But we didn't have so much in common. I mean, he had pretty different interests from me, but he was fun to be around. He was what people would consider a great catch. And I knew I'd be taken care of. And part of me said I'd be crazy to leave. But deep down, I knew he wasn't right. And so I ended it with him. And now I'm with someone that felt right from the moment we first talked. You guys, our intuition is so valuable. And the more we listen for it and really hear it, the better off we will be. Now, what I mean by hear it is hear it from the part of the brain that will listen and do something about it. In order to do that, you have to be aware you're having it. You can't be living on autopilot. So I guess it's a good thing if we figure out if we're living on autopilot or not. Now, here are a few hints that you might be living on autopilot. First of all, do you ignore personal growth or prioritize comfort over growth? I'm thinking maybe not if you're listening to me regularly. Do you often feel disengaged or bored in your life to the point to where you just kind of follow your routines unconsciously? Or maybe you try to ignore or suppress your emotions, avoiding self-awareness. Maybe you're not fully present with your day-to-day activities. You're just sort of going through the motions because your thoughts are the last thing you want to be aware of. They're not so nice about you and other people, so why would you want to be aware of those? That doesn't sound like a fun way to live. But it is reality for a lot of people today. I mean, that's why we see overeating and overdrinking, overconsuming, and drugs becoming more and more prevalent. People don't want to be noticing what's up there in that head. But self-awareness is the key. This morning, Jeff Warren from the Calm app was guiding me through a meditation where we had to stay present to a specific sensation in our body while also opening our eyes and looking all around us, looking at all of our surroundings. That is harder than you think, to actually like think about your feet being on the ground or sitting in the chair and feeling how that feels, but also opening your eyes and looking at all the surroundings. It's hard. Now, I personally have found myself being so lost in my thoughts that I have no idea where I even am or how I got somewhere. And I know you have too, because it's part of being human. The key, though, is catching yourself when you're doing it and bringing yourself back to the present. I was having a conversation recently with someone that I barely knew, and they were a little louder than I like, and also just nonstop talking. I felt like I was being talked at. Come to think of it, it wasn't really a conversation. It was a one-way street. And I noticed at one point while they were talking that my thoughts drifted off to other things. I had no idea what they were saying. But then I realized I had done that, and I thought, you know what? This is a good time to practice staying present in a situation where I would normally not stay present. And guess what? I managed to not only stay present, but was able to ask questions, and we ended up having a really nice conversation. I almost think they could sense the shift in my focus and relaxed, and then the conversation became much more of a two-way street. The point is, self-awareness is one of the main qualities of living intentionally. Self-awareness and autopilot don't coexist very often. But once your self-awareness grows and you start noticing your thoughts, you're going to realize that you have a lot of them. But not all of those thoughts telling you to do something or not to do something are actually your intuition guiding you. Not all of them are. Some of them are just sentences in your head. It's important that we know the difference. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. So let's say you wake up and you had planned to go to the gym, but you have this loud voice in your head that says just stay in bed. And it is loud. But then you also have this feeling deep down that going to the gym is what you really need and want to do for so many reasons. So they're both in your head, but one is more of a vibe or a feeling. It may even be a feeling like in your chest. And one is a loud verbal thought, stay in bed. But I read once that, and this is really interesting about this, I read once that intuition is not like the waves on the surface of the ocean, but more like the tide beneath those waves. I feel that. I feel like my intuition is more of a deep feeling of I really should be doing this or I really should not be doing this. I was at a seminar in California in 2005, and we were asked to write a letter describing my soulmate. And I've talked about this before in the podcast, but I couldn't do it because I knew the man that I was currently dating wasn't going to fit that letter. I just decided I'm going home. My thoughts were very loud about wanting to go home to my comfortable, stable, just in my comfort zone life. But deep down, my intuition knew that what I needed to do was stay and write that letter. And I did, and I'm forever glad because I met the man who is now my husband after that moment, and he fits that letter perfectly. We all have those thoughts of, they're going to laugh if you write your book, or you aren't smart enough to do that job, or I'm too old to lose weight. We have them, but you know what? There's a reason we're having them. It's because deep down, somewhere in the deepest part of our soul, our inner guidance system is trying to get us to live our life to the fullest. Don't ignore or poo-poo that intuition. That is where the good stuff is. We all have an inner guidance system, and we all have a primitive brain trying to drown it out. It's not doing it to hurt us, it's doing it to protect us. But so much of that protection is unnecessary in our modern life. And a big part of living a full human life is doing things that are out of our comfort zone. And our inner guidance system knows the sky is the limit. And most of the time we have to step out of our comfort zone to get there. We have to get out of bed. We have to stay at the seminar. We have to write the book, take the job, have the children. Deep down, you know what to do. My challenge to you this week is to listen and feel for your intuition. Yes, you're going to have conflicting loud thoughts, but the more you get in touch with yourself, the more you drown those loud thoughts out. And you make room for the deep-seated knowing that you were meant for more. And when you follow that and you succeed, you'll proudly be able to say, I knew that was going to happen. Share this with 3 people meant for more. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.